going to be the X-Men Chronicles Age of Apocalypse review. This is a prequel to the Alpha issue, which I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that was maybe the first official Age of Apocalypse release to come out. A lot of people know it as the very first story, but this is a prequel to that story. It's got I don't know, the cover art is very cool. Let me just situate this. First, it's got Wolverine and Magneto, and here's Apocalypse there. I mean, this cover is a lot different from the art of the Metallic Alpha issue, but it's still sort of laid out in a similar fashion, where Apocalypse is big in the background, and you got everybody fighting. But I like this issue because, or this cover, because it's got everybody in their original costumes. Not their original costumes that they had in X-Men anytime, but for this new Age of Apocalypse continuum, there's, in this issue, they're establishing that there's a past and there's sort of a different classical X-Men, as opposed to the one that you know that Xavier brought up, because Xavier is dead and he never created the X-Men, and this is all Magneto doing it for him. And yeah, this is called Origins. The issue is called Origins. It's explaining how Magneto built this X-Men base on Wundagore Mountain, and you know, instead of Westchester, this is where his X-Men base is, and it's quite elaborate since he's the master of magnetism and he could build things very easily on an epic scale. His son, Quicksilver, is on the team. He's one of the X-Men. He's coming to give him a message or something. The rest of the X-Men are shown training in the war room. There's Colossus, and there's Jean Grey, I believe. Yeah, Jean Grey, Colossus. That's, this chick here is the Scarlet Witch, even though she's not called that. She's just called Wanda, which is Magneto's daughter. Storm is on the team. Iceman, they're all fighting a bunch of robots in the war room. And Magneto comes and he takes off his cape and he's like, well, I might as well join them, because leaders should be able to do, you know, should be able to set lead by example, sort of thing. So all of them start to fight the robots, and he cranks it up a few levels or something like that. They're all fighting, having a great time in the war room. Pretty basic stuff there. And then Magneto out of nowhere is all like, hey X-Men, I have a new X-Man, and he's called Weapon X, and he releases him from this room, and everybody's all surprised because it's this guy, Wolverine, his first appearance in the Age of Apocalypse. They call him Weapon X though, not Wolverine, and he's slicing up robots and being very crazy, and you know, everybody's freaking out. Quicksilver rushes to get Iceman out of the way, because if he didn't get him out of the way, then Wolverine's feral rage would have just sliced through him. So clearly everyone's getting to know each other. They realize that he's reckless and ridiculous, but you know, this is just sort of establishing the fact that there's this new team and this new history now. And they show Apocalypse's ship here. He's making announcements all over the world that the world's going to end. This girl here, I think, is his angel of death in the Age of Apocalypse. Everyone's freaking out about that. Let's see what else. Back here we have Magneto just reminiscing about his time with Charles Xavier, which was very short-lived since Xavier died, and he's just sort of reminding himself about why exactly this mission is necessary. On the next page we have Mystique bringing Rogue in to be yet another new recruit. She's very young. Rogue raised her in this continuum, much like she did in the other one, I believe. And it's very hard for her to let her go, but she's trying to make her stronger by sending her with Magneto. So Magneto sort of, Rogue's all like, I can't touch anybody, I can't hug you, goodbye, and stuff, and she's sad. But then Magneto's like, well, you can touch me, I have some kind of special, I can create a magnetic field around myself, and, that sort of thing. And I think there's some other reason why he can touch her too, but I forgot exactly why. It has to do with the powers that she absorbed once from someone who was also magnetic in nature. Okay, this is Cape Citadel, and whatever that is, it's some kind of important military place, I think. And there it is right there. And it shows the four horsemen of Apocalypse descending upon Cape Citadel. Let's see, this is death. You got war. This is Gideon, which I guess they just don't. Oh, this is Kandra, this chick right here. I guess they just don't tell you which horseman she is. And this is Gideon, the guy with the green hair who was on the cover. And Sabretooth. They're all being led by Sabretooth. And they're hanging outside the ship. And they're about to pounce on the place and wreak some havoc. And here in Wundagore Mountain, you have the X-Men, and Wanda is showing Rogue around the place, and she's trying to make her feel comfortable and explain to her certain things. And she sees a statue of Charles Xavier, a little bust head, sitting in the hall. And they start to talk about him and why exactly Magneto is doing this, because of the fight with Legion that he had in the past that killed Xavier. Legion came all the way back in the past to destroy Magneto, because Legion, being Xavier's son, believed that Magneto and his villainous self in the original continuum was the greatest threat to his father's dream of world peace. So he actually traveled across time and space to see to it that Magneto had nothing, nothing to stop him with. So Magneto thought that was a very powerful idea and decided to not be a nefarious bastard and actually create the X-Men himself. Anyway, this is the Apocalypse ship descending on the military base, and all the guys are like, terrified. Sabretooth is jumping in the crowd and tearing people up. You got Kandra's got some kind of psychic abilities there. This guy's fucking shit up. Death clearly causing some death to occur. And Tank's trying but not being able to defeat the ship and everybody on it, like Sabretooth, who's a badass. And in this little sequence, you see that Magneto is observing what's happening with the Apocalypse ship. So he's like, alright, it's on. It's time for me to release the X-Men that I've trained for so long and see if they could rise to the occasion here. They board the ship. They're all ready. They're all boisterous and talking about the mission. Magneto tells Wanda, his daughter, to stay behind and look after Rogue because she hasn't been trained. She just arrived. And as they leave in the ship, the reader understands now that there's this guy here named Nemesis who is spying, waiting for them to leave so he can destroy the Wundagore base. And I believe that this Nemesis cat is Apocalypse's son in some facet. I don't really understand how. They're leaving, they're going, they're talking. You know, I'm just running through this very briefly because I don't want to go past the time limit, which I'm close to, so I'm gonna skip this a little bit more. Yeah, they're all going to attack and defeat the horsemen. So now Nemesis is attacking Wundagore Mountain. Everything's blowing up. There's a lot more little kid X-Men around that we've never really been introduced to, just to give you a size of the school. Rogue comes out. She starts fighting him, because apparently she already collected her super strength and flight from Miss Marvel by this point. Sabretooth actually here becomes betrayed by the Four Horsemen, which is natural in villainous communities. I believe he tries to strike some kind of deal because Magneto shows up and he's all saying, hey, if you let me help you fight these guys, don't kill me right now, I'll help you fight them, we'll settle it afterwards. Then Wolverine jumps into it, starts fighting Sabretooth, which is a pretty cool moment because before this I'm not sure if they had a past together or not, because everything's different. They're fighting, it's a good fight. Lots of scratching and clawing. Let's see here. We got confrontations between Kandra and Jean Grey going on. They're fighting. Magneto's looking serious. Again, I apologize for how vaguely I'm running through this, but you get the idea. And hopefully you'll want to buy this for yourself, because it's out there, you can get it. Yeah, he becomes injured, though, by this one guy with the green hair, Gideon. And as Colossus and Iceman are still fighting death and war, you know, it's just a big slugging action sequence, I guess, with Wolverine fighting Sabretooth, and he puts his claw up to his chest, and you see the snicked, and then he's on the ground. Wolverine clearly won that battle. So Gideon is now defeated by Magneto. Apocalypse is like pissed, and he's all, well, he's not so much pissed as he is just proud of himself all the time, and he's talking about how, you know, he arms his guns and praises Magneto for being a worthy opponent, but he's about to shoot them all on the ground where they stand from his ship. Magneto gets up in this sort of iconic pose, and it's just like, nope, and boom, and he sends, since he's weakened, he can't destroy the ship, but he destroys its targeting system or whatever, and that is that. The ship has to retreat, but they return and find that Wanda is dead, the entire base is destroyed. Rogue barely made it out alive out of the fight with Nemesis. She's pissed, everyone's pissed. Magneto's all like, well, this sucks, but this means more than ever that, you know, it's on, and we gotta make sure that Apocalypse is taken care of. And after that, there's just a few gallery images of the new artwork that they were all proud of. You know, they're showing the fact that Magneto has a relationship with Rogue and a son that they've called Charles. The new Weapon X stuff has Jean Grey and Wolverine together. Sinister, Cyclops, Beast, and Havoc all make up the title of Factor X. You have this whole panel of the new X-Men, which we'll get into later. I'm running out of time, so Gambit and the Externals, Generation Next, Angel, and there you have it, NBA Jam. Peace out.